Hey guys, all right. So this is gang life, perception and prevention. And what I want to do is go along the perception first. I want to get through that and basically from a young person's perspective on why they join, what's expected of them, their perception and what the real is. And then I want to go over some or what in my opinion what I view as okay, so most young kids they join gangs from a lack of economic opportunities, no jobs or whatever. Summer youth was cut down, chopped down a lot statewide. So we know a lot of youth weren't employed. Some young kids join as a form of empowering themselves, um, just to feel as if they have some kind of control over their life. Even though they are dedicating themselves to, the life, the gang life. Some people do it because there's some kids I want to say do it because there's a imbalance in family. No mom or no dad or both. Not enough rules and regulations for them to follow. So they join for those reasons, and some of these kids join for survival. It's hard out here, and they join because they don't want to be the target. And even if they're not the target of the gang in their area, you could be the target of the rivals just because you live in that area. Survival for that reason. The money, when you get into the life, there's money to be made in that lifestyle. You can yourself. I'm not gonna go out on that one. There's also this perception of respect that there's also a feeling of power. Like, oh, you respect me. I'm with this set or that set. Give me my respect for that. And then the socialization aspect, the parties, the women or whatever that thing goes on. And some of them useful in their lives or needed by anyone or like they matter, so they join for those reasons. Now I'm in the gang, it's my set, they need me, for whatever reason, whatever I provide, to my clique or my set or whatever. And then some of them join up because they're family already. We're talking about generations of you know uncle, mama, daddy, cousin, so that's why they join, some of them. And what's to be expected, I'm not sure if they always understand what's expected of them, because now that you've joined, your life is on course, to put in work, whatever it is. You do not have a choice in your assignment. Whatever they want you to do, you have to do. You got to do. You have to contribute, and that's through your work, through you putting in work and doing what you got to do. You got to contribute to the family. And if you never had a work ethic, I really don't know how that goes, for someone who's used to, like, maybe mom and dad is taking care of you and now you're expected to produce now, and sometimes on a high level with high consequences and risk. So there's also, you may face going to jail even if you didn't do anything, whether or not you did anything or not. Remember, this is your family now. So if you got to do the time, you got to do the time. Can you do the time? A lot of people say it. They talk all that I could do the time, standing on my, my head and all this, this crazy stuff dudes like to say or whatever. But can you really do that time? That's time, like every day in a cell, away from your family, with a bunch of dudes, just every day. Just, can you do that? There's in jail, like there's men in there who, it's not so much I think about rape, even though we know that goes on, but like it's dudes, it's there's inmates or men in there that want to, be in a relationship with you. Are you mentally strong enough to go through that? A man pressing you to be in a relationship with him. You were just out on the street talking to girls and, hanging out with your girlfriend, and now here's a guy that, is like pressing you and wanting to sexual relationship with you. Can you deal with that? Can you deal with being thrown in a box? They are working on changing the age range for teens to be in solitary confinement, but they've been working on that for a long time. So the box is still an option. Can you do that? Can you do 30 days in the box and 90 days in the box? Can you really mentally do that? Are you strong enough to do that? This perception of I'm cool, I'm gangster, I'm powerful, look at me, fear me, I don't got no authority over me, until you end up in there. And then here comes, the real, because we've already discussed the perception and why you guys, like to join up. But the real is frequent court cases, possible removal from your home, especially if you're a teen. And then you're endangering your siblings. They could possibly be removed from the home now because you caught this case. Now CPS is involved. Now they investigating your sisters and brothers and doing, this is the consequences. This is what you're going to do to your mom, or your pops, or your mom and your pops, if you're blessed to have both. You could get, they handing out sentences to teens forever, life sentences. They don't look at your age. They look at what you did. Can you spend the rest of your life in jail? Is that a good option for you, Because if not, then you shouldn't be in that life. There's other ways to gain money for what they do. I'm more or less just trying to really go over these consequences, and just try to help as much as I can, give my contribution or whatever. But prison life is hard, and it's expensive to be in prison. If your mother, if you young, you get locked up, and now you need help, your mother has to figure out how she's going to support you in there so you're okay, and how she's going to take care of the bills on the outside. Nobody's going to be contributing or whatever. And then, like I said, I already talked about the pressure of relationships, being in relationships with a guy. That has to be weird. If you're a straight person or heterosexual, you go from that to that, and then even if it's not you and you manage not to have that problem, you're going to witness it. You're going to witness acts of brutality like you've never seen or witnessed before in your life. You're going to see murders, you're going to see rapes, you're going to see things, people doing things that people doing. Getting extorted, that's not anything new, but the stuff I'm talking about, I can't even bring myself to talk about the stuff that you will see in there, I don't even want to talk about it. That's how, it's real. And like I said, are you able to survive that life? Are you able to come through mentally? Are you going to come through mentally? Or are you going to be, just in there crazy, just like an animal? Because some of them lose it. They lose all sense of reality, and they become that, institutionalized. And once you become institutionalized, that's kind of like it. Like, that's your life. We know the basic avoidances is like basically having a 2-parent, structured home, which is not always rock and solid proof, because there are people who still join and they have their mothers and fathers and they got everybody, the generations, and they still, to the lifestyle, the gang lifestyle. Divorced parents. That's here nor there. But well, I just want to say, like, for divorced parents or parents who are not together, you have to find a way to maintain a workable relationship with each other. At least be able to just communicate, and just, if you really just hate each other and you don't like each other or whatever, just make it really brief, where you just, dropping one off and, going on about your business if it's really that bad. And just be man and woman enough to do that, to provide that for these children, because they definitely need it. And that's pretty much the real that, you know. So the prevention for me comes in through education. And I know people like, oh, education or whatever, they keep saying that, but um knowing what kind of learner your child is, that's where you have to start at. When they're young, like 9 and 10, you really want to, when they're able to, like, hold a thought, and you can really get them to sit down and function on a project, or, have their attention, span last longer. I would say about 9 years old. And it's good to find out what kind of learner they are. There are 7 type of learning styles. I'm gonna leave the link in the description box because I didn't want to go through all 7. I picked out 3, which, in my opinion, I view would benefit, us as a people, black people, or however you want to identify yourself. But I find that a lot of black people are visual learners. And a visual learner is just someone who uses images, verbal cues, written cues. They tend to write out. They tend to, like, maybe like plan their day out, or they like to write down their ideas, and they like to have notes, to help them go along as they're learning. If you ever heard someone say, it's kind of like cliche now or whatever, but if you ever heard someone say, oh, I need a visual, and that's just their way to understand what you're trying to explain to them, that they need to see it in some form. Okay, so it's just like an event planner is a good example of that, because they can walk into a room, and if you tell them you want to have I don't know, a reception or some kind of theme party, they're able to quickly put colors together, and the ambiance of the room, and how they see people walking through, and they see all of these things or whatever. And that's a form of visual learning. And I think that it's important to know all 7 styles and look at your child and see where your child falls at under these 7 learning styles, because once you do that, it'll be easier for you to sit down with the Board of Education and figure out the right curriculum for your child. Learning is not the way it used to be. It has to be very unconventional, because we have so many I'm going to get to the other 2 too, but we have so many diagnoses of I don't know if it's ADD anymore or ADHD or whatever. And I do believe, in my opinion, that some of these children just need to be taught in a different manner. Okay, another type of visual learning, or was that whatever, would be having, like, the multiplication chart, by that child or whatever. It's not to say that they can't solve the multiplication problem. It's just that they need to look at that chart. So we shouldn't focus so much on how someone arrives at an answer. We need to focus on the fact that they know how to arrive at an answer. As long as you get there, that's what matters. Just as long as you get there however you need to get there. Okay, so that's it's important to know if your child is a visual learner. Um, Second is real popular with us. That's auditory, an auditory or musical or a person who learns through, I want to say, sounds and beats. It sparks different, I'm gonna say vibrations for lack of a better word, but it sparks different vibrations in the brain, and it triggers the thought process or whatever, which is different from a visual learner. These type of people, they, what can I want to say, like if you guessed, like I said already, music artists, they benefit most from this style of learning, because they're musical people, they play instruments, so if you have a child, you can't really build a curriculum around music. But if you have a child that is interested in music, playing instruments, just making music all the time and just making up songs or like little jingles that would be able to go along with a commercial or something, or they rewrite songs or whatever and make them in their own little way. You want to make sure that that child has a good musical program, because they'll get that inspiration that they need to help them stay focused during a math class, during a social studies class, because these classes are boring. The school is boring. So when, again, going a little bit, not off topic, but going back to why it's important to know the learning style of your child, is that you want them highly motivated when they're in the class so that they can take in, the knowledge that they need and learn how to apply that. And in order for them to do that, their brain has to accept that information that the teacher's giving to them, or else it's just like blah, 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 blah. To some people, listeners, people who listen, they can take in information that way. And I forget the name of that, but like I said, it's going to be in the description box. They take in information like that where they can just listen and they can break it down, and everything is okay. So they're more prone to be in the classroom and listen to everything the teacher has to say, because that's how they obtain the knowledge and break it down and make it make sense to them. And we're putting all of these children in the class and expect them to take in the information the same way, and I don't want to say necessarily compete, but well, they do compete with each other, as far as grades go or whatever, and we're not providing the right type of environment for them, or the right type of curriculum, I want to say, or whatever. So yeah, make sure that this auditory musical type of learner, or this child that's inspired by music, or this teen that's inspired by music, that they have a strong music program. You demand that, and you let them know, this is how my child learns. This is what's going to keep my child motivated. This is going to get my child through social studies and science, this music class. So it's important, it's vital, to them being a productive young adult in life, is that they have the right type of curriculum. Okay, and the last one, us, black people, we are definitely some physical people. We like being physical. And, it's just like, you like to get your hands on, you want to dig down in it, you want to tear it apart. We like physical. That's why we have so many like construction workers and, different people who do physical stuff. I couldn't tell you all the physical jobs out there, whatever. And this type of learner is called, I know I'm going to mess it up. Watch me mess it up, y'all. A kinesthetic learner. And somebody might write and tell me whatever, but kinesthetic. Okay. Pertaining to physical. Okay. So Yeah, these type of people are hands on, and they learn better through having, a project where they could actually put their hands through things, feel the fibers, the materials, and have everything there. And they're like, oh, and as they it's sparking, what I want to say, creation or innovative thought. And it's, like I said again, allowing them to process what they are being taught by having it there. It's just like, I'm trying to give an example. It's just like having, like, I can't show you, like, I have to take you there or whatever. Like, we have to go to this place, and then I can, describe, like, look, it's physically, it's right here. Let's walk inside. This is what I'm talking about. They think more along that lines. Um, and I also think that this works for people with ADD or ADHD, because it allows them to, burn off some of the stress or whatever it is, that they're feeling, where they need that physical movement or whatever, because that's what the complaint is. Oh, they can't keep still. And they probably just, they might be bored. Some of these kids with ADD or ADHD are very smart kids, but they're just, like I said, they're bored to death in the classroom, and so they just want to move around and they want to do that. So, maybe a better physical program as far as, that curriculum in school, soccer or some type of sport, definitely, where this child has the ability to burn off, that extra energy, and that will allow him or her to process the information in the classroom a lot better. Because that's all we want to do. We want to make sure that the child is processing the right information. So we have to find a way to reach that child. And I believe in doing so, it will prevent some, not all. It will prevent some youth joining the gang lifestyle that we know most of them are not ready for. Some of them, it won't, even if we did, let's say all of this stuff went into effect tomorrow, some of them won't, some of them will still stay in the life or whatever. But, I get it. You asking a bunch of young people, who want the riches. They want the money right now. They don't feel, they feel like college takes entirely too long, and they don't see the prosperity, of college in their communities. They don't see it. Like, it's like, okay, well, you went to college, you right back over here. We don't see, they don't understand that you have to struggle and that it might take 10 or 15 years. Like, right? When you're young, nobody wants to hear that. Like, oh, it's going to take me 20 years to get, you want it now. And this is why they join the life or whatever. So, trying to provide them with the learning style that they need in school will be a great armor for a parent. And when you're armed with information like that, there's no telling how far your child can go, in life, in the job market, in the business market, or whatever. And as a parent, I think all parents should take some type of business course. It doesn't even have to be nationally accredited if you want. Those tend to be cheaper. And that's where I got my business. I got a diploma for business management. And, it's not accredited, but it gave me a complete understanding of how business functions. And that's what you need in order to help prevent your child from joining a gang. Because in all reality, they make us compete in this world for jobs. You know, I'm not gonna say anything that I don't want to be perceived as a racist, but you know how they do it. Like people who really study the economy and things like that, they understand how it's done to us. So the best thing for us to do is to try to be more innovative in our children's education and learn how to teach our children how to start businesses, you know, maintain businesses, and you know, keep retention in those businesses. And you know, it's a lot that goes along with it, and it's definitely something that we need to learn ourselves better so that we can, you know, pass that on to our children. These are things that can help prevent the gang lifestyle, the poverty that people talk about, you know, why they join the gangs, because this and that. Well, this, if you learn how to start a business at an early age, you know, maybe by the time you're 13 or 14, maybe you could lift your whole family out of poverty. You know, it's just, you just have to be provided with the opportunity, and you have to make some sacrifices too. You have to be willing to give up the immediate gratification of the materialist or the materialistic things that you love so much. You know, you have to be able to go without some of that. And that's, you know, that's going to be a sacrifice that will be only up to, you know, the teen to make, you know. So I just wanted to bring some awareness to some prevention, or what I feel to be prevention, and the perception of some of these teens, and you know, the reality of, you know, what that lifestyle means. So I hope I did my best in bringing you some awareness, and I hope you have a great day.